Okay, let's see if this works. I've made two previous recordings. This is one of them that I tried to upload, and this is the second time it got blocked, so I'm trying it a different way now. What happens when I try to use Formula One footage? Sometimes it goes through the filters fine, other times it doesn't. Sometimes it's ineligible to be monetized, as you can see from the video showing the 2018 Chinese Grand Prix, where race control manipulated the deployment of the safety car. This time, when I'm trying to use the example from the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix, it just got blocked, so nobody can even watch the video. That's just what I'm dealing with. So let's see if this one actually goes through. What I was actually attempting to do was put together a video about Formula One race directors and what is going on with them. Okay, because they get moved aside, they're corrupt, they're incompetent, and nothing gets done. So we know that there's a race director that has just been fired in effect. So I'm making a video about that, but I've got to do some research. And when you do the research, it just brings back memories of examples, and here is one. So the guy whose name is on screen, Eduardo Freitas, is grossly incompetent. And that was demonstrated at the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix, which I'm going to make a video about. That guy got moved sideways to become race director of WEC. I'm going to show you a video about that as well. Very important video because it's presented by Anthony Davidson and shows you the inner workings of FIA race control. So that is important. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. That will be being produced soon. But at that 2022 Japanese Grand Prix, there's two incidents that I've found, and all you can do is you can look on the FIA website, and it'll give you the paperwork surrounding those. One involves Max Verstappen. The other one is where they try and blame it on Pierre Gasly to cover up for their gross incompetence. 2022 Japanese Grand Prix, if you remember, it was this one. Post-race interview. The race was won by Max Verstappen, as many were back in the 2022 season and 2023 season when Red Bull were competing in that genius Red Bull car. But it was also a genius car for the 2024 season, the start of it, until the cheat devices were removed. Adrian Newey, the genius of ground effect with that genius car, but the moment asymmetric braking is not allowed, and the moment the ride height adjustment's not allowed, which is not allowed throughout, is no longer a genius car, is it? Funny that. Anyway, is a cheat, is Adrian Newey, not a genius, but they will still present him as a genius. Look at what is happening at the end of the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix.
Well, it seems Charles got a 5-second penalty for going through the chicane. Max, I think it's maybe have changed for you. Come back in. Charles got a 5-second penalty there after the little sort of race we had with Sergio. World champion.
Well, what can I say? Incredible.
Yeah, incredible. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play you through the incident at a quarter speed, and hopefully it won't get blocked on copyright with that. But before I do so, I want you to listen to what Crofty is saying in commentary. So usually on tracker view it doesn't get blocked. You can see the checkered flag. I'm trying to wave my cursor to draw your attention to where the checkered flag is on the track. If you just go back, you've got turn 18, turn 17, turn 16. So 16 and 17 is a chicane. Just getting to turn 16 is Sergio Perez. And there's a red dot of Charles Leclerc that's underneath him. And so we're going to listen to what is being said from now. Max Verstappen has crossed the finish line. He's already won the race. The race is on now for second and third place. And let's have a listen.
Verstappen has taken the checkered flag to win the Japanese Grand Prix. It's a 12th win of the season for Charles Leclerc. Meanwhile, 12th win of the season for Max Verstappen. Meanwhile, Leclerc goes across the rumble strip. Perez tries to get him on the outside of the final corner. Leclerc comes home to take second place ahead of Sergio Perez. They might have a look at that in the steward's room after this race, because that
Leclerc goes across the rumble strip, does he?
seemed very untidy going through the final corner, but let's take it through 130R, Jensen.
Yeah, so Leclerc's braked. He's just out-braked himself and gone straight.
I personally feel that he's going to have to, well, he's going to lose that position to Checo.
He pushed me off.
Well,
He came really unsafe.
and then did he push Sergio Perez to a place that Perez didn't want to go? Esteban.
So firstly, you've got drivers complaining that they pushed each other off. And then you've got Crofty saying, did Leclerc push Perez to a place that Perez didn't want to go? So did essentially Leclerc push Perez off the track, which would be illegal? Let's now have a look. So that's Verstappen's car. And we're going to just play it through now at quarter speed. And we'll see what's going on. Because it's going to, there it is, it's cut into Leclerc and Perez, approaching that chicane. Leclerc in the lead, carries so much extra speed, and it's understeer. Now let's just see if Perez stays within track limits here. He's off at the front. Oh, that's tight, isn't it? It's tight. Probably just about remains in contact with that white line. Where's Leclerc gone? He's disappeared, hasn't he? So that's Perez. Oh, there's Leclerc. He's been cut in the corner. You're not allowed to do that because what you've done, you've maintained that position by cutting the corner. All right? You're not allowed to do that. You've gained an advantage. The advantage being that you have maintained that position by leaving the track. Now, is anybody pushing anybody off track there? Is there a car width for Perez? Yes, there is. And if we just go back a little bit there. Let's have a look. Yeah, no problem there. So why is Crofty saying, oh, did Leclerc push Perez to a place he didn't want to go? So there's no issue with crowding a car off the track or even running a car out of room on the track. So there's no issue, but the issue is that Charles Leclerc has left the track and maintained his position when actually you're not allowed to do that. You've clearly gone into the corner too fast, not been able to make the corner and kept that position. Here's the rearward facing camera from Leclerc. You can see these boards that they're on the side of the track. Well, we're going too fast to make that corner, especially in those conditions, low grip conditions. Couldn't make the corner, went off track and kept his position and rightfully got a penalty. So it's not controversial that he got a 5-second penalty there. However, the car that was in second place went off the track and kept second place. And that's not allowed. So let's see if there's any more worth watching. Probably not. Oh no, this is just the footage of Charles Leclerc leaving the track. So we know that that's what happens. You leave the track, you get a penalty. If you force a car off the track, you get a penalty. We can go back to Max Verstappen at the 2024 Austin Grand Prix. When trying to convince the world that that is okay, what Max Verstappen did, Sky Sports put in front of us, put in front of our faces, this filthy human being. This absolute scumbag of a human being lying to you and lying to your children, by telling us this.
Nowhere does it say, because again, if I read that line, it says that the overtaking car must stay within track limits. Nowhere does it say that the car being overtaken, in this case Verstappen, must stay within track limits. So I think...
Oh, is that right, Karen? Okay, the car in Suzuka 2022 that was trying to do the overtaking manoeuvre was Sergio Perez, and that has to stay within track limits. Nowhere does it say the car that's being overtaken has to stay within track limits. Is that right, Karen? Is that right? How come Charles Leclerc got a penalty? Because you're trying to present that Max Verstappen is the expert of the rules and regulations, and therefore that's why Max knows that he can throw his car off track without penalty, right? And well, you can tell by just his snake of a face there. That's exactly what he is. He's a snake of a human being. He's an absolute liar, absolute scum.
Does it say that the car being overtaken, in this case Verstappen, must stay within track limits? Nowhere does it say that the car being overtaken, in this case Verstappen, must stay within track limits. So
nowhere does it say that the car being overtaken must stay within track limits. So Japan 2022, Charles Leclerc was the car that was attempted to be overtaken by Perez. Nowhere does it say that he must stay within track limits. So that's fine then, is it? I thought he got a 5-second penalty. What are you talking about, Karen? You're here, you're put in front of us to defend Max Verstappen. When Max Verstappen gets a world championship, that's fine. It's a penalty to Leclerc. When Max Verstappen commits the infringement, oh, it's the other guy's fault. It's Lando Norris's fault. This is what is happening week in, week out in this show. And scumbags like Chandok are there being paid good money to lie to each and every one of us.
does it say that the car being overtaken, in this case Verstappen, must stay within track limits? So I think that is something that the driver...
That is something that, let's have a look what the stewards thought. And again, this is key. 2022 Japanese Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So the car under attack left the track, gained an advantage, got a 5-second penalty. Steward reviewed the video evidence, and although car 16 did not gain a position by going off the track, it was still deemed to have gained a lasting advantage. This determination takes into account the numerous driver briefings where the race directors advised that an advantage would be considered as having been gained if you go off the track and return in the same position whilst defending. There you go. There have been a number of precedents this year, in particular Zhou in Saudi Arabia, Alonso in Miami. So we might have a look at them at some point. Stewards, Gary Connolly and Felix Holter are two of them. They are two of the corrupt four from Abu Dhabi 2021. So Gary Connolly at the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix that imposed a penalty on Charles Leclerc for leaving the track and maintaining his position. The difference in Austin 2024 is Lando Norris was forced off the track by the car on his inside, who went in too hot into a corner and ran Norris out of track room and left the track himself. He was driving dangerously. And what happened there? 2024 United States Grand Prix. Now before we actually read through what happened, Gary Connolly again, the same guy. The same corrupt mofo. He's there with Derek Warwick this time. So sometimes it's with Felix Holter, sometimes it's with Derek Warwick, the three musketeers, the three corrupt individuals who were part of the fix, played their role at the Abu Dhabi 2021 fix. So this is Lando Norris. Oh, this is Lando now is the one that, having got forced off the track, Lando was in third place going into that corner. They said it's a race to the apex. No, it's not. You go into an apex too fast, then you're out of control and can't make it around the corner. That's a lie. This is another Karun Chandok presentation. Oh, Max is the expert of the rules as long as you win the race to the apex. Lie. Absolute lie, because if you can't keep control of your car because you've gone in too fast and leave the track, you've committed an infringement. So it's nothing to do with the race to an apex. It's about taking an appropriate speed. And it's taking an appropriate speed depending on who is entitled to be allowed track room around that corner, both on entry, around the corner, and on exit. And that is going to determine your cornering speed. So therefore, it's not in any way a race to the apex. Not in any way. But anyway, car 4 was overtaking car 1 on the outside. Wrong. Car 4 was already ahead. Was already on the FIA's own timing screen, noted as being in position 3, a car length ahead of Verstappen, who was noted as being in position 4. So already the FIA, Gary Connolly and Derek Warwick here, are lying to us because they are corrupt, but was not level with car 1 at the apex, which is irrelevant. Therefore, under the driving standards guidelines, which aren't even a thing, because what we have is the FIA International Sporting Code Appendix L, which I've gone through in previous videos, which tell you what the regulations actually are with regard to what is permissible and what is not with regarding driving standards. Okay, car 4 had lost the right to the corner. Utter bullshit. Accordingly, as car 4 left the track, no, car 4 was forced off the track by the car on his inside, who left him no track room and went off the track himself. So clearly there is no, if you've gone off the track yourself, the car that's on your outside clearly has no space whatsoever, has got nowhere to go. And car 4 left the track and returned in front of car 1. It is deemed to be a case of leaving the track and gaining a lasting advantage. Filthy, isn't it? Absolutely filthy. And the best that they can do is put this snake in front of us.
That the overtaking car must stay within track limits. Nowhere does it say that the car being overtaken, in this case Verstappen, must stay within track limits. So I think...
Is that right? Is that right, Karen? Nowhere does it say that the car that is being overtaken, Charles Leclerc, must stay within track limits. Well, that's not what Gary Connolly thought in Japan 2022, is it, Karen? But when it involves Max Verstappen at Austin 2024, oh, it's different rules. It's Verstappen rules. This is what this show of Formula One has become. They just don't apply the rules to Max Verstappen. They twist the rules. They let Max Verstappen get away with everything, and they penalise the other driver for it. And then we gaslight the population, saying that Max Verstappen's actually the victim in all of this. Max Verstappen's hard done by. Where are all of the British press gone? Because Max has now won something, and all the British press have gone because of all of the British bias. This is what the show is. This is what the show is. So that'll do on this video. I'm going to do a short video on what Max Verstappen actually did at this Grand Prix in the practice sessions, demonstrating again this guy's character, and then I'm going to do a video about what this notion of race control and corruption within the FIA is. It's all important that people understand the reality of what is actually going on within this show of Formula One, and it needs to be overturned. They're not going to do it themselves, so trying to raise awareness, trying to show people you need to be aware of this. It's been going on for years. Let's not move on. Because this is what's happened. The Austin Grand Prix was, what, 2 or 3 races ago? We've all forgotten about that now, haven't we? Oh, all we can remember is Brazil, where Max drove a masterclass, apparently. Nothing to do with getting the advantage of a free tyre change and not having to pass his main rivals. Didn't have to outdrive them. No, he got that leapfrog free of charge. But that somehow constitutes a masterclass because that's what the media want to tell us about it. Funny that, isn't it? Funny that. There's no truth. No, truth's no longer a thing when it comes to media. We all need to wake up to that. Anyway, thank you for your time on this one. More to come very soon.